Welcome to DestinationDionna. I'm Deanna, love guide to all and kept wife strategist to the women I'm called to serve. Please consider my channel your self-help learning library for love. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for our weekly coaching gem, where I give guidance to elevate your love experience. And on Wednesdays at 1 p.m., tune in for Sounds About Wife, where I give my unique wife perspective and prepare professional women like you to become kept wives. So hit that subscribe button and let's start this love journey together. See you soon, my loves. So, last week we talked about attraction not being enough and how it shouldn't drive your decision making when it comes to relationships or choosing a spouse. This week, we're talking about how to tell the difference between chemistry and compatibility. Because chemistry lies sometimes, and the difference between the two really matters. Okay, so by the end of this episode, you'll be able to tell whether what you're feeling is chemistry or actual compatibility, and why confusing the two creates long-term dissatisfaction. So if you're new here, welcome to Sounds About Wife, where we talk about the mindset, identity, and relational wealth required to experience love that actually sustains you. Okay. And I'm Deanna Washington, known as the Kept Wife Strategist, your relational wealth advocate. I lovingly guide women who are not currently experiencing love the way they desire, but are now ready for more, ready to be prepared for something better. I guide them into captivity, where we are fit, feminine, and financed. First by God, but then by our keeper husbands. Okay. So since we are building on last week, right, I want to remind you that attraction loses its power, but chemistry usually steps in to take its place. Okay, so they're kind of related, right? Chemistry can feel electric, right? It's fast, it's familiar. Whereas compatibility feels calm, it feels steady, it feels predictable. And because many women were taught that love should feel intense, your butterflies, compatibility can feel boring at first, right? But here's the actual belief error. And I tend to call this a love limitation or a limiting belief, aka a lie that you're telling yourself. If it's not exciting, it's not real. So chemistry is often just, I know y'all don't want to hear this, but I'm just going to say it. Chemistry is often your nervous system just recognizing a familiar pattern, right? But compatibility is your nervous system relaxing into safety. So this is how compatibility shows up, right? And this is where we kind of get to the promise, what's going to happen in this episode. Here's how you tell the difference. So compatibility is going to show up as consistency, emotional availability. It's going to be shared values. It's going to be mutual effort over time. In comparison to chemistry, chemistry shows up as anticipation, right? The emotional highs and lows, right? The intensity, but without stability. So, because I'm your relational wealth advocate, right? We want to have wealthy relationships here in all facets. Chemistry is like just a spark, okay? But compatibility is the infrastructure. That's what you want to build on, okay? Because you can't build wealth with just sparks. You just can't. So here is the identity correction. Okay. Here's what you can actually state as an affirmation that will align with a new identity that is anchored in compatibility, not being impressed and moved and swayed by chemistry. Okay. I am a woman who values how relationships function, not just how they feel. Let me say that again. I am a woman who values how relationships function, not just how they feel. That identity shift changes who you entertain, how long you entertain them, and what you tolerate. But if you listen to commoners and some of the commoner coaches online, they're going to tell you that dating is a full-time job and it takes 300 first dates to find your match. Not in the Keptiverse. Let me just tell you that. Not over here. First of all, yes, you do need to have a focus on your desire, right? You do need to be intentional. And whatever you want most, you do need to prioritize. I agree with that message. However, this is what I call like right concept, wrong application. Yes, it's the right concept that you need to be intentional about what you desire and you need to prioritize it. That part is the right concept. But the application of it's your full-time job, you need all these many first dates and kiss this many frogs to get to your prince. Absolutely not. Because if you are focused on the right identity, if you are doing your own work to up-level yourself, your discernment is going to be developed and it will not take you 300 tries to get to it. First of all, half of those shouldn't have even gotten into the door. That's the thing. You do not have to entertain everything that you are presented. Go back and take a look at my purple car analogy. I reference this often. The purple car is whatever it is you desire. Whatever it is your vision. When you submit that to God, hey, God, I really want a husband who adores me, cherishes me, and provides for me and covers me. And he's a man of God. He's handsome. He's rich, whatever the things. But then you entertain the man who's not submitted to God, who does not adore you, doesn't even choose you, you're chasing. What are you telling God about your purple car, your request? You're saying, you know what, send any car and I'll get in it. You got to get to the point that you'd rather walk before you get in any car that isn't the one you want. That's the point you got to get to. So no, I didn't have to test drive 300 cars before I got the car I wanted. How about I got clear about what I needed in a car? I did some research, narrowed down what it was I wanted, and went to the dealership and test drove that car and then brought it home. That is how the dating process should go. Yes, it may take a couple, it may take a few, but really your discernment should be developing more so that you don't need 300 tries. You shouldn't be letting everybody test you out. Ooh, that's another message. So let's do a readiness check, okay? If you've been chasing chemistry and feeling drained, this should explain why, okay? If you've dismissed compatible partners because they didn't feel intense enough, right? This is a moment of recalibration for you. Like, I want you to start seeing the signs of chemistry, right? You're anticipating, right? Are they gonna call or are they not? Your emotional highs and lows, really excited when you're with them, but when they're away, you're sad, you're unsure, you don't know what's going on, you don't know where your place is. The intensity, oh, I really want to spend time with them, I'm excited, but there's no stability, nothing you can count on. That is chemistry. That is not what you want to build a life on. That is not even what you want to waste your time on. Okay. You want to focus on compatibility, consistency, a person showing up consistently, emotional availability, right? Let me see. I got a comment. I just met someone and they were honest about dating someone else. Is that a bad sign? No. Hold on. Let me. Hey Trudy, welcome to the Keptiverse. Okay, let me slow walk you in. Right, I'm just like, no, absolutely not. I believe that you want transparency, right? Do you want it to be a secret, or do you want to know what's going on? Right? How did you respond? That's the point. Like, how did you respond to that? How did that feel to you? To me, I'm like, cool, he's honest. But I teach my Kepties, you're single until you ain't. Dating is dating. You're getting to know people. You're collecting information. Dating does not equal physical relationship or anything like that, though, when I'm speaking of it. So if dating to you includes physical intimacy and all of that, then it might be different. So I don't know your exact situation, but in general, you want a man to be honest, right? I would be more interested in why he offered up that information. Did you ask? Because if you didn't ask, like, what's his motive? Why he telling you that? Now, I don't know how you responded, but I'm going to just give you this nugget in case it ever happens again. Your response should be, oh, that's awesome. As you should. As you should. Right? Completely. He's not going to know how to take that. He's like, huh? Right? I appreciated the honesty. Yep. I just asked if it was truly dating to get to know or situationship, because in Jamaica, the lines are blurred. Ooh, my Jamaican sister. I feel like I'm Jamaican, like deep down in my heart, right? I love Jamaicans. So don't let that like limit your experience though, just because of cultural norms and different things like that. You get to decide what you want for your life and what dating is going to be like for you. So yes, great. Appreciate the honesty. I would caution though, like, are you trying to get to know someone, or like, I don't know if people will really be that honest about that. I coach women to develop a discernment about actions, because actions don't lie. You can say whatever you want, but how you show up is really the truth, right? A man could tell you, oh, I'm not dating anyone else, and then you see him out with somebody. What's the truth? What he told you or what you saw? Like, what's actually happening? So instead of like even asking that question, I think you should have a posture of, what are you dating for? Like, what is your intention with dating? Are you dating for marriage? Are you dating just to meet people and experience life with some casual companionship, or what is it? And just focus on what that is. Get to know and define what that should look like from someone else. And then when you see it, cool, I'm aligned with that. When you don't see it, remove yourself. Be prepared to observe more. Women, you are going to, and this is for everyone, not just you, but hey, Trudy, thank you so much for saying that. Women, like, you got to have a posture of observing. Stop asking all these questions. And I mean, you can if it makes you feel better, but I promise you, you're going to get more of the truth by showing up authentically as yourself and then watching how they are. Watching how they are without you giving the blueprint of how to win you over, right? Without you giving them the blueprint of how they can pretend. Yeah. The chemistry was crazy with my ex, but compatibility was low. I can't do that again. It's so confusing. So thank you so much. I think it's Akila J 2252. Thank you so much for commenting. I don't know if you heard when I gave the distinctions, like the differences between chemistry and compatibility. Chemistry has those big emotions. It feels fiery, like it's all of those things. And that's what we can get caught up in, right? But it literally is just our nervous system recognizing patterns, right? Compatibility feels more calm, more at ease, right? More relaxed. And that's why sometimes we can be like, oh, that's boring. No, it's peaceful. It's the kind of thing you can, okay? Yeah. So my whole intention with this lesson is really I want to equip ladies and my support hers and my keepers that are watching. I support you as well. I'm equal opportunity for healthy, wealthy relationships. I'm all for that, right? Kept marriages. I'm all for that. And I want both people to be happy. However, I'm a woman, so I'm speaking from the lens of a woman, and my clients are women. So I want you to be equipped so that you can recognize that chemistry is chasing. It has feelings of being drained, right? That's why. That's what chemistry is, right? Compatible partners might show up more regulated, more calm. And because of that, and there isn't this intense type of feeling, you might dismiss that. And I'm encouraging you not to. Lean into that. Lean into it and discover who you can become when you're relaxed, who you can become when you're more regulated, who you can become when you don't have these extreme highs and lows and these fits of uncertainty. I don't think I've ever been compatible with anyone, or I'm not used to it. You're clearly compatible with people. You might have just dismissed them as friends or not potential partners or things like that. That's usually what happens. It's not that we're not compatible with anybody. It's that when there isn't that spark, that excitement, where our antennas are probably down and not looking for relationship. We're like, oh, that's a friend. He's cool. Oh yeah, we're dismissive. I'm encouraging you all to be more open to that. Be open to who you're relaxed around, like whose presence sets you at ease. When they come around, you don't have to worry about things. When they come around, you feel a sense of calm. You feel a sense of, you don't got to do so much. Normalize that. Okay. And I'm just going to say, inside the Kepti Academy, this is what women learn, right? They learn how to retrain attraction so it aligns with compatibility, not chemistry, okay? That is the preparation work that we do. It's not performance based, okay? It's not you say 1, 2, 3 and I give you this scripted. No. I don't feed women. I teach women how to fish. That's the difference, okay? And we're actually gearing up in the academy for what I call the Power Partner Profile Creation Workshop. So Sierra had a list, this woman had a list, all those things. Well, I actually teach you how to have a profile for the type of man you want. I tell you what qualities to look for. I tell you how it's going to look in the actual dating world so you can recognize it. And you leave this workshop with your actual profile. So if you are into things like that, if you want to build the right foundation so you can improve your dating life and prepare yourself to actually attract a keeper husband, okay, and be able to maintain that once you're married, you want to enter into the Kepti Academy. So the link is going to be in the description. Please join us. February 5th is when we do our workshop for the Power Partner Profile. I invite you to come. Yes, you do. Hey, Kepti Rocky. I recently went on a date with someone and I do feel safe, but I also feel bored. Like he isn't pursuing me like I want him to. I don't find him to be very inquisitive about me. Okay. So this is a little more loaded, right? We can feel bored when it's not as exciting, right? And that stems from usually experiencing the highs and the lows, right? The uncertainty of, is he going to call? The anticipation, I like him. Does he like me? Right? Like that is what we think is like the butterflies and all the stuff. Now, it's different if you're saying, like, I want to be pursued and he's not doing that. You know, he's not as inquisitive. I would say, without knowing the complete like picture, only going based off of what you shared, it's important to note that I teach my Kepties to give men the tools to be successful with them. Not lead for them, but give them the tools so that they can lead properly, right? So have you let him know certain things about what you like in regards to pursuit? Have you given him the information that would help him to easily do that, right? Because we got to consider men are pursuers. There's a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. While we don't want to remove the responsibility from them, they are built to shoulder it and they are leaders. We don't want to add more on. And you add more on when you don't give him the tools to be successful. So I want to make sure that you're doing that. Okay. Come on, Rocky plays no games. She does much more than help you. I do. I gotta, I'm working on really being able to talk about all it is that I do. Thank you. In the beginning stages, I like boring now because usually when it's too much, it's fizzle fast. So I don't know if you heard this point, but I literally talked about how there is this belief, like, if it's not exciting, like this can't be it. This can't be real. And many times we will say, oh, it's so boring. It's not boring. It's peaceful, right? It's stable. You can count on it, right? And many times we have not had that. We have not had that. So even though we desire to have something like this, it feels foreign. But once you get used to it, man, that's what you're going to want. You're going to want the peace, right? Especially as we age and mature. You're not going to want to play these games, right? Butterflies come in a different way. Okay. What's the difference between helping them to be successful but not giving them the playbook? So giving them the tools versus the playbook is this. Tools would be, I really enjoy experiencing a man's creativity when it comes to dates. I enjoy seafood restaurants. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is giving more of the general, like, these types of things versus, hey, I want this particular restaurant. I want a man to send flowers on Friday. I like that. Because when you do it like that, a man can just act. You want to give him the general thing that will require him to actually think, and put forth effort. That's what you're watching. If you just tell him, oh, my favorite restaurant is XYZ. They have a special on Saturdays, and all he has to do is book it and take you. How will you know how he interprets, planning dates? You want to see all of that. So you just want to tell him, oh, I like seafood. I like active dates, or I'd prefer hiking, or you want to give him general information and then see how he interprets it. See how he puts forth the effort to it. It's not giving him the playbook because I just gave the example. So the example is, I like seafood versus my favorite restaurant is Del Frisco's and I want to go on Saturday. If you say, I like seafood, you get to see, does he take you to a fine dining place? Does he take you to an all-you-can-eat buffet? Does he not even take you to a seafood place after you told him that? Does he make a reservation? Does he ask you follow-up questions? That's the difference. The difference is you want to give him enough information so that what he does, no matter what it is, you'll still enjoy yourself. If you tell him the types of food you like, at least you're guaranteed to have a good meal. If you tell him the types of dates you like, say you like active ones, and he takes you on something active, at least it's going to be in the ballpark of having a good time. And you've given him enough information that he can interpret it still his way. You still get to see how he chooses and how he leads. And that's how you can make your decision whether or not you like his thinking or how he leads. Rocky says, I say things like, I love when you call me early in the morning. It makes my day. Now he gets to decide. That is cool, right? That's even taking it further. That's kind of like positive reinforcement too, right? He had to do this in order for her to say this. So he did something she liked and she reinforced it by saying she liked it. Not, hey, can you keep calling me every day because I really like that? Nope. She observed how he showed up and then said, oh, I really like when you do that. Makes my day. Now he has the choice. Love it. See? Because I used to be a call me in the morning type of girl, probably telling him, call her. Yes, we just talked about this. Great info. One of my Kepties. So listen, I have already went over my little time. I said y'all was getting 15, 20 minutes, but I love the questions. If you are into these types of conversations, if you want to be more equipped with tools to improve your dating experiences, or even if you're not dating right now and you just want to heal, you want to be in a place of preparation, you can meet me here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I would do this. Look, come on, Rocky. Let him know. We are a great group of women. So join us in the academy. The link is in the description. So I'll see you next Wednesday for another live episode of Sounds About Wife. What we're going to cover the mindset, the identity, and relational wealth required to experience abundant love that actually sustains you. So, as always, I'll see you next week and keep it kept.